into another podcast, the Swansea Cricket Club podcast. This week we've got Joey Singh with us and Harry Bryant again. So we're going to touch on a few things. We're going to touch on lockdown, pre-season, the junior stuff, which Singh is one of our first team players, has come through the junior system with a number of other guys. So, we'll talk on that, and we'll talk about Joe's first season in the first team where we got promoted back to the Premier League. So, Singhy, what have you been up to during lockdown, bud?
Keeping active, trying to go for runs on Strava, trying to go out for walks as much as I can. I'm working at the moment as well, about 3 to 4 days a week, so long days, keeping active, just trying to keep as best I can be, mentally and physically. But yeah, I just feel like this is one of the fittest I've been for a long time now, because normally when you're training all the time, you are keeping fit, but doing more running, more cardiovascular, more weights and stuff, I do feel like I'm much better for it now. So yeah, I think even though lockdown for some people hasn't been the best, for me, I think I've worked on myself quite a lot also. So I do think there have some beneficial things coming out of lockdown. So yeah, it's been great at some times as well. So
no, fair play, bud. It sounds like you've been keeping really busy, and obviously you're hitting good numbers on the Strava group and stuff with the boys. Obviously that Kazi brought that idea in about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that's been a really big help, isn't it, for all the boys?
Yeah, definitely. I just think the competition as well. I know we don't want to be. I'm quite a competitive person, so when you do see numbers, well, it does. When you wake up on that Saturday morning feeling, oh, do I want to do much today? When I'm seeing, Brad's done 10K or Harry's done 10K, you're like, I want to be competing. I'm going to be competing 4 places as well this season as well. So I do think it's quite key to, also have the edge as well. So anytime you can now, just try and get these numbers going as well. So yeah, it's good fun.
No, good stuff, Brad. And obviously you're doing really well there. And in terms of sort of like the weekdays, we've had a bit of work with Fitz as well, doing sort of mainly sort of strength and conditioning stuff, haven't we, in the week?
Yeah, definitely. Well, normally after a long day of work, working about 9 to 10 hours a day, you don't really feel motivated. You come home, have a shower, lie down. But now I know Swansea Cricket, I've got the 2 times at least training on the weekend. I think it's quite key. It makes me motivated. I'm like, I got a Zoom session tonight. I can do something that's going to benefit me. And it's quite nice to do stretches and workouts I don't normally used to do. I didn't work on my core a lot. And I feel like now by doing more planks, side planks, working on upper body a bit more, it's going to help me a lot in my cricket season as well. Hopefully with my bowling, develop a bit more pace, building a bit more stamina in my overs as well. I felt like when I was bowling, by the 4th, 5th over, I felt a bit more tired, and that's when I was bowling maybe more wides, doing more mistakes. But now I feel like, because I've built up this more better core, better strength and stuff, hopefully I can bowl better figures this season as well and keep on going.
No, good stuff. And we have touched on it in a couple of the podcasts we've done before, that, those sort of midweek sessions, even though, a lot of, some of the sessions are very much stretch and strength related exercises. You touched on it there with the core work, the planks, the lunges, the squats, all of these movements we use on a cricket field, don't we? So if, guys who have been doing it all winter since January up till April are going to be sort of well ahead, I think, come the first couple of games of the season, and obviously prevented injury as well. I'm going to bring Harry in. Obviously, Harry's been involved in the fitness sessions as well. H, in terms of you're a batsman, and Singhy is a opening bowler or bowler. What do you think the key differences is there from Fitzy sessions to a batter and bowler?
Well, I mean, for me, there's lots of different things that, like Singhy said, at the core, sort of general exercise and like that. But it's good in a way that you can obviously take what he's doing, and you can take obviously some weeks you do X, other weeks you're doing Y, and then you see what works for you. And I think there's certain things that would work for Singhy as a bowler, and there's certain things like for me as a batter, like the different muscles. Obviously, you're going to be using more. Like for me, I'm maybe not going to be using the sides as much. Driving through as a seamer, but Singhy, you're going to be doing that. Other things like I'm going to get down the sweep maybe more. So the different exercises are going to suit different people. I mean, it's been good from. You say about the juniors and stuff, like fit people like Singhy there every week. You've got the Webbers always there as well. it's good to see that the Colts buy into it as well. So it's only gonna see the rewards as the season gets going.
For sure. And Singing, obviously, the year before last year, and obviously the lockdown, you were doing quite a bit of work with us in January, building into April. You came to all of those winter training sessions, individual before on a weekday before we had our team sessions on a Sunday. So I know before Christmas you did a few. What would you be? What do you want to look to improve on building into this season compared to what you did last year?
Well, I just think consistency is key. I felt like last season I was confident in my bowling, but I had a few games where I thought a bit sloppy, wasn't the standard I want to be. And only now, I think, in the last 2-3 years, I've taken my cricket a little bit more seriously. Like, it used to be a thing, just doing the summer. But now, recently, I've thought, if I want to try and do this, maybe try to do it at uni, maybe, and also play with Swansea for a decent stand. You've got to put the hours in. So, yeah, definitely consistency and fitness, strength, and the field. If you're fielding for 40 overs, by the 30th over, I'm quite tired now. I'm feeling it in my legs, but keep that high standard up for the whole 40 overs. Play the whole game of cricket with a high intensity, with a higher standard, wanting the ball every ball, don't switching off. I just think that's the difference between a good player and an excellent player. So yeah, just consistency and standards.
Yeah, really good points, Bud. And I, this year, in terms of, we sort of planned really well for it last year, hoping that we were going to sort of, play Premier League cricket, but, we ended up playing in pods, and, we still played Premier League opposition, but they were, classed as more as friendly. So in terms of this year, compared to sort of 2019 when we got promoted, I'm sure the standard and stuff will be a different level again. Obviously, the new players we've got as well. We had Kazi and Fitz last year, but unfortunately, with the season being sort of friendly based, they were home during the lockdown stuff, so they played for their home clubs. This year, fingers crossed, we get some good news on Friday. And the guys, I know Gibbo is back in South Wales this week. I know Kazi comes back in a couple of weeks. Fitzy's already planning on heading over. James is in Cardiff already. Hopefully, Harry and a couple of the Swansea uni lads will start coming back as we get some positive news. Places this year are really going to be up for grabs, and we're going to be hopefully super strong for Saturday cricket and Sunday cricket. Where do you see yourself fitting in, and how are you feeling training with these guys and seeing these guys in action?
Well, I just think it's amazing to see, coming up from the junior ranks, you just play people your age and the standard's okay. But as soon as you come into the seniors and you see players that have played for county level cricket, you see the standards that they're producing. It does inspire you a little bit to say, oh, if I put a few more hours in, if I train, I could be like this. And how good would it feel to be, hitting 50s, 100s every week, having good figures and stuff. So watching them training in the nets, you learn stuff as well, even how they run in, how they bowl in between, what do they do, what they're thinking. You ask them questions, because I don't mind asking one of the senior bowlers, what you thinking right now, what you're doing, and I can maybe, even that little knowledge or that little bit they tell me, I can take that on board and hopefully can use some little tips to help me through my career. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, we've mentioned Roman and stuff, and Roman's very very open, and he's in the WhatsApp groups, and he's easy to talk to, isn't he? Kazi's another one that very easy to talk to. Fitz, James Brayhart, Oshan even is developing and learning and coming through as well. What's your in terms of batting? You face Roman, you face these guys, like your winter seasons. You've worked hard as well. What's the what have you enjoyed the most facing these guys?
I mean, I always think whenever you as a batsman, if you're facing someone who has played professional cricket, that's like a big tick. It's firstly, you can say, well, I face this guy, but then it's like you want to prove yourself, don't you, against them? So it's sort of you have to then be mentally very strong, not to sort of firstly not to do something stupid and get too ahead of yourself, but just trust your technique, those sort of things. So for me, when I faced Roman down at Cardiff, that was good fun, because it really tests you out, and it gets a good indication of where you go next. So those things you learn from it, and then if that happens again, for example, then you can compare back to it and those sort of things. And if you're even just at we've had sort of Swansea net sessions where you've had like yourself, Jake, Joe, you've been involved in it. It's nice to sort of compare yourself each week against these people and see, well, obviously, you can learn like these sort of game situations and what you do here, what you do there, what worked, what didn't. It's always things to take away from it, and then learn on it for the next week. So I think that's the most important thing. And if everyone's like that, then each week everyone's improving, aren't they? Or even, obviously, not every week you can have a good week to say. But even on the not so positive weeks, you can always learn things. There's positives to take away.
Even to add to that very quickly, not just like the boys that are coming through like high standards, like I've got people like my uncle, Kerry Chahal. I got people like I opened the batting once, so like Mike Hayden and his experience and stuff, telling me what to do, helping me through. I just think even like senior players also they played with overseas players, they played at a high standard as well. It's just nice to hear from both aspects of the older generation and the younger generation. So I think my uncle's helped me a lot with that when we've done some nets this winter as well, just develop my game. It's just nice to have knowledge from both sides. So I've got, you've got all different techniques. You can take it in and then you can combine it and just see what's best for you, really. So yeah, it's been quite good.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Siggy. I think Kerry came back last year and sort of batted in that number 4-5 position. Same with Mike, and I think those two. There was a game at Pontarddulais, I think, where I think Kerry batted through and took the game really deep, and I think Crowney came in towards the end and did fireworks and did the business, and Kerry finished 15 or out, and Lawrence whacked 60 or 70. But that's I think the year in 2019. I think that's what we missed. I think we missed the experience of a couple of senior players in our group, because we were regularly, I think, scoring 200 plus, but we couldn't defend that 200 plus. So brilliant having Kerry back and Mike playing. Obviously, who was involved in the over 50s World Cup in Cape Town in February last year. So it is nice. And as we touched on, in terms of the recruiting and what we've done, it's not just a case of the first team we're going to recruit. The actual second team we're going to get stronger by the better players coming in, and then in turn, Sash, Rio, Kai, James Lester, these guys are going to develop by playing in a strong second team, and hopefully then within sort of 2 or 3 years they'll like yourself, you'll sort of come through the ranks and continue in the first team. So since your first team debut back in 2019, you've obviously won 2 trophies. You've won the South Wales Prem 2, and we won the South Wales Cricket Association T20 Cup last year. You started really well for us. Obviously, made your debut at Panteg, and then I remember an important Welsh Cup game we played. And I think, Jake got 150 at Clydach on a really good batting wicket. And I think we scored 330 or 340 odd. And I think they were about 120 for none off sort of 15, 16 overs, going along really well. And I remember you came on, and I think you took 3 wickets in that game and took their top 3 out. So that must have been...
You caught about 2 of them for me, though, skied it up. But yeah.
That must have been a really sort of surreal experience, because you sort of came on and completely changed the context of the game and sort of took those 3 key wickets, which were 3 of their best players, and sort of set us on our way then to winning the game.
Well, I just think I'm quite like, when I bowl, I feel like I'm quite different. I'm quite unique. Like, I'm not like the average bowler bowls really quick. I'm just like a middle pace, try and get your line length, basic bowler. I do think that does baffle the batters quite a lot also, trying to think, I'm going to smack them over the top, and hopefully then when they feel most comfortable, that's where you strike. So yeah, I was really chuffed with that game. I wasn't, I never really considered, I just said I'm a cricketer, do you know what I mean? A bit of a bowler, a bit of a batter. But after that game, I did think, well, imagine if I put a bit more effort in now, time, if I can get 3 of the top 3 decent clubs, very good club, good 3 batters out, then it's got a lot to come. So yeah, it did give me a lot of confidence, and I think that's what kicked forward my, my willing to want to play, a higher level of cricket. I wanted to train more, and yeah, hopefully that can come now. And then this season I can show a little bit more of what I can do. So yeah.
And of course, Clydach at the time were in the Premier League as well. So you did it against, a Premier League opposition. I remember in the T20s down at Neath, Nye Norman was going berserk, whacking sixes and fours. I think you bowled 2 overs for about 7 runs against him as well. Like you slowed him down. So you certainly got the potential. And I think your strength, as you touched on, is you're very consistent and you're quite unique. You do things differently to the other seamers, which is a good thing. How did you find the trip to North Wales for our quarterfinal match?
Oh, I loved it. Do you know what I mean? I know I love the cricket, but also a great bunch of boys. Do you know what I mean? The social's unreal, having a few drinks and taking the mick out of each other. I just don't think there's nothing better than playing well as a team, but also just after it. I think that's what was the difference. Also, I know we had the quality, maybe or better than other teams on the lineup, but I don't think there's a better group and bunch of closeness boys than us. Do you know what I mean? We'd laugh on and off the pitch through the whole lockdown. We haven't that WhatsApp. I come back, there's about 30-40 messages unread, I just think that team bonding, when you're going out on the pitch, everyone's got each other's backs, everyone's coming from a good place. If I say to you, Brad, come on now, you've dropped that ball, hurry up. I know you're not saying that to make me feel upset. I know you're just trying to say that because you want me to be as best as I can. So I know that I think the team morale going up there was amazing. And the way we did it when we lost, I don't know, G at the end, then coming back thinking, oh God, I'm in next. You know what I mean? Options and what's going to happen. And the way we won that game, it just shows how deep we bat. And with Swansea, you could be 6-7 down and you still think we have a chance. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I thought was amazing that game in and after the Sweet Carolines and the celebration, just amazing. So yeah, I really enjoyed that trip and I'd remember that for a long time because it's my first proper, tour game of cricket for Swansea. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
It was a good trip.
Gutted I couldn't go out in the night though and have risk or wherever it was, but hopefully a few more to come there.
Yeah, it was a good trip because I think G did it on both days. I think we played Ennis, didn't we? And we were about 90 for 3. And G went in and finished the game off, and we finished we were chasing 150, and we won that game. I think that put us we needed to win one of the last 4 games to win the league, so that was a really big win. Because Ennis finished second that year. Then we travelled up and we stopped off and had food and stuff, and then obviously stopped up in Wrexham, had some drinks and stuff, and the boys went out and had a good time. And then, yeah, like you say, the team morale is something that I think is certainly being created. And from the outside, I don't think people see it. People maybe see the Swansea have signed A, Swansea have signed B, but they actually don't realise how quickly we integrate people into that group. And the way we do stuff October to December, I think is a massive key, because guys integrate straight away before Christmas, and then the time it gets to January, February, March, they're all bantering, they're all already involved, they already know what's happening, whereas other clubs start their trainings in February, and if new players are coming, they've only got a month to integrate and get in there. Harry, when you joined Swansea, you did it that way as well. You joined in the October, November time, and you eased yourself in, and then by February, March, April, you were flying. Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, it would have been October time. October 2018, I think it was that I joined, and obviously didn't play a game until April of 2019, but by the time it got to that point, you felt like you'd been there for ages. The way that everyone had organised things, we did many. Obviously, it wasn't COVID times then, so we could have loads of social events and all that sort of thing. But even like Joey says, the WhatsApp is vital. Everyone's involved. Everyone's always in touch with each other. It creates that sort of team bonding thing that is very valuable to everyone else, because if you can have that sort of thing, it's great when everything's going well, but it also acts as a way of bringing people up who aren't always, on that high. So if someone's struggling, there's always someone offering support or something, So it's always a good thing to have.
It's nice because Swansea, if you look at the teams on paper, the first, second team, third team, it's quite a diverse group of guys. There's guys from overseas, there's guys from different cultures and religions, there's guys from different backgrounds, there's youngsters in there, there's older senior guys that Singhy's touched on. But it seems like everybody in that group all respects each other and has got a lot of respect for each other. So when we do play on the Saturday, or when we do play in the summer, everybody's got each other's backs, which is I think the absolute key to a really good strong team and club. So I couldn't be more chuffed with the way we've done things, and and the guys, how they've bought into the practices and the pre-seasons and what we're looking to do moving forward. So fingers crossed, come in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be back ready to play in the league season. Will be up and running. So Singhy, let's just sort of dock back to the sort of junior setup at Swansea when you were sort of playing under 15s, under 16s and stuff. So you had a pretty strong team in terms of yourself, Sash, Osham, Johan. I think Rio might have played a couple of games then. Kai probably played a few games. Callum Jenkins obviously is another one. Callum was around. So all of those guys, all of those guys that I've mentioned have played some form of first team cricket in the last 2 years, which as a progression pathway, it must be really nice playing with your mates that you've played in under 15s and 16s with up into first team.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just nice to see, from coming not being confident with the bat or not being so confident with the ball, now to seeing people like Oshan running in, getting 2-3 wickets a game. You could just see their pathway, how they've just improved over the years. It just shows what it can do if you just put the practice in and stuff. It's just really nice to see. You've got me, Sasha, Johan, Osh, and they've all improved. And I just hope we can keep on improving now through the years. But yeah, I think we were all a bit nervous jumping from junior cricket to, first, second, third team cricket. But having even the experience in third team cricket, and playing against older people and just learning from that, then coming to second, first team cricket, you're just picking up something new every game, something every new from each format. And yeah, I just think it's been really nice to see everyone still at it as well. There's not many boys that play junior cricket from like the age, I don't know, me and Sasha maybe, and the 9s and the 10s for Swansea now coming all the way through. So it's quite nice to see that we're still here. So going strong.
No, it is good to see, but obviously that 2019 season where we did get promoted, you Oshan, Johan, you all put in big performances. I know you got a couple of 3-fers in the league and a 3-fer in the Welsh Cup to sort of help us through. Oshan got a few 3-fers. Johan went up and batted at number 3 in the last couple of games and got an 89, I think, or an 86 against Panteg at home. So the guys. One of the big things for me is when you guys do play, you get opportunities, and what I'm like. I try and integrate you into games as much as I can, and it's not a case of just turning up on a Saturday batting at number 10 and not bowling. Like you get opportunities, and if you bowl well, you'll bowl your overs, and I think that's the key. Like Sash, look at someone like Sash who started last year pre-season really, really well, and then obviously damaged his shoulder and was out for the shortened season, but hopefully he's going to come back now with that will to want to improve, and he's going to be competing with yourself, and if you're taking the wickets, Sash is going to want to take the wickets as well.
I think that's good. That's what I say. When you have competition, it pushes you. Do you know what I mean? If I knew I was going to be in the first team every weekend, I could be not performing and still being in the team. I don't think that's right. So knowing I have competition and there's all places to grab, then I think that's where you perform your best as well. So yeah, I think that's very positive. I think that's very good. Yeah.
Good, bud. And pre-season, you looking forward to the pre-season games? Obviously, the first team have got five games lined up. The second team have got 5 games lined up. So there's going to be a lot of games going on. Yeah,
I think there's something to look forward to as well. Do you know what I mean? There's the date. We know we're counting down the days now, doing a bit of training. I think it was 2 days ago, me and Sasha just went down Sketty Lane. We put some stumps up. We just did some bowling, just getting excited for it. So, I'm just looking forward to putting the Swansea top on and having a go. Just missed it. It's been really, I don't know how long since we've played. So I'm just looking forward to playing now and to see what happens then. So, yeah.
And has you keen to get the coloured kit on and whack the orange ball around?
Yeah, because I haven't actually played a game in the coloured kit, so it's been sat there doing very little. But yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this year it can be put to some good use. I like the orange ball because as a batter, it stays hard, so you can get value for runs. So what's not to like? Just don't get me bowling.
Fair. And it's funny. We obviously we touched on performances and stuff, and we flicked back to another Welsh Cup game in 2019 when we played Port Talbot, and I think we were something like 80 for 8 or 80 for 7 or something, and you and Johan actually put on a strong partnership at the back end of that game and got us to sort of 115, I think 120, which I'm sure Port Talbot would have been really happy with that in terms of the game at Port Talbot, and it proved to show that that 25 partnership at the end actually won us the game, because we won by about 9 runs in the end. So and again, that's against Premier League opposition. So you must be itching a couple of good performances in the second team early in pre-season, and with the first team when we play our games, and you put your name in the hat for first league game. Yeah,
well, I remember that game because didn't it get moved to 2020 or something? Or if I remember rightly, it was supposed to be coming. Obviously, I'm not the biggest lad, so it's been fitness stuff's been good because building some strength. But I remember, people on paper go, well, what are you doing playing 2020 cricket? You're not got clear boundaries. But it kind of, me and Joey, obviously both not the biggest guys. It showed the importance of having people who could sort of rotate the strike, score 7 and over, and in that game it wasn't the easiest pitch to bat on, so it was actually, like you say, it turned out to be quite valuable. So I think it showed a lot of people that day that you don't have to be just swinging and stuff. It doesn't always work, but yeah, hopefully score some runs for the second team. It's all you can do. And like Joey says, there's a lot of people who you're competing for places with, and that's not just the case of the juniors, the senior. Everyone's in that same position, so it doesn't matter who you are. If you don't perform, then you're gonna be not dropped to say, but it's your place is under threat. So that's all you can do is perform on the day, and give them a reason to pick you rather than say so and so.
Yeah, good points, and obviously if someone in the second team goes 100, then they've given me a headache because they're in form and they need the opportunity to come in. Same with if someone goes 5 for and someone's not bowling too well in the first team. The way I am is I'm going to give guys opportunities, and I've done that in the last 2 years, and I'm not worried to sort of drop someone who thinks they're potentially not droppable, because the way we are this year, we've got a full squad. I'd probably say we've got probably about 18, 19 guys, all capable of playing first team, and actually all capable of scoring hundreds as batters and taking 5-fers as bowlers, which is really, really exciting, because our second team, when they turn up and play games as well this year, I hope they're motivated, those guys, and want to sort of turn up and do what the first team guys are doing.
And I think that also, like Joey says earlier about the competition, even if just mentally you've got, take 19 people who could be competing for those 11 spots, it means that everyone has to be on their game. There's no sort of I'm certain to be playing this week, because, well, no, there is actually people who could take your spot, and it's not just a case of they could take your spot and then just be there to make up the numbers. No, they would be there to actually fill in and take part in the game. Like, look at Singh taking the free throw against Clinic. He's not just there to make up the numbers and field. He's there to actually make a difference in the game.
Spot on. Singh, what's your thoughts on our squad for the year, bud?
Well, I think it's good to rotate players as well. You can when you're in the second team. I know the standard. Hopefully this year. In the past, I could tell the difference massively between second team and first team cricket. How the fielding is, how just everything just about cricket, you can just tell the standard difference. But hopefully this year you won't be able to see the standard as much, which will be very good. But also I just think the second team players will be thinking all the time about them first team positions as well. So hopefully that will impact the second team, and the second team could be equally as hopefully strong as the first team. So it'll be nice to play, because we've always, like from the last like 4 or 5 years, second team has always been, we'll turn up, try our best, but hopefully this year there's no reason why we can't challenge for the top 2 places. So hopefully now.
Absolutely, but on paper, just doing a couple of rough drafts of lists of players, of potential players who are going to be around and things like that. I mean, I'm really excited because I think our second team this year have actually got a side that actually compete in Prem 2. I actually think they would do okay in Prem 2 in the first team stuff. So, like you said, hopefully guys, work hard and continue to sort of want to score runs and take wickets in the second team under Haas. And, like you said, a top 2 finish, top 3 finish would sort of be a really good year, I think, for the boys. And that's what I guess, Haas is going to be aiming for with that group of players. In terms of looking at, so say we get to September, Singhy, what would you be happy with if getting into September in terms of sort of wickets and runs or your role? What, you just touched on it that hopefully the second team finish in the top 3, first team I guess win some silverware somewhere, whether it's the league, which is a big ask to win the Premier League, because there's a lot of good teams in there and a lot of clubs that know how to win at home. Obviously the South Wales Cricket Association T20 Cup we're going to be defending this year, so we want to make sure we give our best in that. You've got the T20 Prem Cup and you've got the Welsh Cup, so there's lots of cricket to be played. Come September, what would you be pleased with for your season?
Yeah, I've really never thought about that, but my main thing is I want to have a contribution in each game. I don't want to come from a game on the weekend and say, what did I do today? Well, I scored 2 runs and I got smacked around the park. That's what I want to be. I want to be saying, yeah, I got a wicket this game, I scored runs in this game. So hopefully, I don't know, I want to, 15, 20 wickets maybe in a season, a good season. And then runs, I don't really know, to be honest. But I just think, as I said, if I can try and contribute to every game, then my stats hopefully will be as good as I want them to be. I don't want there to be any games knowing, I didn't really do much that game because I wasted a game. So yeah, just try and contribute as much as I want. And then for the team, I'd say, I think I'd be quite disappointed if Swansea hasn't won any type of silverware this year. I do feel like we're very capable of winning at least one type of trophy. So yeah, I think at least a bit of silverware this year. And personally, 15 to 20 wickets with trying to contribute every game and with the bat or the ball or even fielding, So yeah, that's my aim.
Brilliant answer, Singhy. I think, like you said, if you look at it sort of short term and you look at contributed each game, I think the numbers then in turn will add up come
definitely.
So that's a brilliant answer. Harry, you played 8 or 9 games before you had to head home back to Three Bridges for in the 2019 season. But in that time, you scored 100 at St Helens, your first senior 100. Is that something that you're sort of going to be aiming for this year and try and push on, because you've obviously trained really hard through October to December? Some of the videos on your Twitter page of you batting of, you can see you've taken your game up a different level again. So is that something that you'd be looking at? Would you set yourself targets during the time you're here, or would you be doing similar to Singhy and just trying to contribute in each game and things?
I mean, I think that Singhy's got it 100% right. If you're contributing every single game, then from a personal point of view, you're going to be pretty happy. So whether that's scoring runs, taking wickets, or just even being in the field, just if you're contributing in the game and making a difference, then you feel like you're justified to be in the team and you're enjoying it much more. From my point of view, if the team wins, then that's great. So if I come off, if I get a duck, but the team wins, from a personal point of view, it's not great, but at least the team's won. And if that does happen, if you score a duck, you just got to be as good as you can in the field. But from a selfish point of view, I want to score 100 every week. But hopefully that happens. You never know.
Harry Coley. So Singh, we're going to wrap it up soon, but so in terms of younger players coming through, who would you, if you had to say someone to look out for in 2021 for Swansea, who would you put in brackets and as a Swansea player to look out for, who you think is going to have a big, doesn't have to be a youngster, it can be a senior player, it can be someone who you think is going to have a real standout year and is going to sort of come into their own?
Oh, I think Oshan Weber. I'm only saying that. I've seen him every Zoom session, his commitment, he's always there. He lives and breathes cricket. He's constantly training. He's always thinking about how to become a better player. And I just think he's got so much talent. He's, I don't know, 16 years old, is he? 16, 17? Yeah. And if I was just looking at him bowling, I think he's about 21, 22. So I just think, yeah, he'll be, I think he'll play very well this season. And I think, yeah, he'll have another outstanding season. I think he's a great player. It's
good because his we talk about his bowling. I think he took 8 for 40 as a sort of 13, 14-year-old in the senior second team down at Ponte de Lice, which is a hell of an achievement. And then you look at some of the things he did last year as well. He got a 50 off 30 balls against Maesteg in the South Wales T20 Cup at St Helens. He got a 35, I think it was, off about 17 balls in pre-season with a bat as well. He's worked really hard, like you said. October to December, he was hitting lots of balls, and he's grown and he's got stronger. And he's, like you said, he's working really hard on his fitness with Fitzy in the week. And obviously Paul's getting out on the bike, and Johan's doing some running. So I think Oshan's definitely in a good environment there. If you had to pick a senior player, Singhi, who do you think? From a senior type of thing, it doesn't have to be a first teamer, it can be a second team player, it can be anyone who you think it could potentially have a really big season this year and maybe make a big push in terms of runs or wickets.
That's a good question. I'd just say I back myself. I would say myself. I put the pressure on myself. I think if you don't think you're going to have a good season, then why should you be playing? Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to say myself. I think I'm just going to try and play the best I can, and hopefully I'll have a standout season this year. So yeah, I'm just saying myself.
Good, Brad. Good. And you've worked hard all winter, so there's no reason why you can't. H, over to you, Brad. So you've obviously seen the guys train October, December. You've been around the club now for sort of nearly 2 years. Who, if you were picking a youngster and say a senior player, who would your 2 players be? Standouts.
I mean, it's hard to look past the Webbers. I mean, obviously, Johan's not going to be there full year because I don't know. Well, depends what he's doing, but with university. But those 2 are always very, very keen on their cricket, and from the sessions that we saw in the winter, they've definitely pushed on. So I think it's hard to look past those 2. I mean, obviously, not that others aren't going to have a good season, but I think those 2 are going to be key, whichever team they're in. And from a senior point of view, I think that Hassan will be very, very key in the second team. I think he really understands the game really well as well. So even if he doesn't quite contribute as much as he wants with the bat, or his knowledge of the game will bring other people into it and make sure they're maximising their performances. So I think from his point of view, from a leadership point of view, he's going to be crucial to that second team.
Can I also add, if I have to give an actual senior player, I say maybe Tom Haydos if he comes back. I just think hitting that 4 off the last ball has given him so much confidence. So hopefully now, if he is batting up better in the order, hopefully then that will give him the confidence. And so I think he might have a good season this year.
Yeah, two really good names. Hassan has obviously worked really hard. He was number 1 on the Strava group this week. I think he ran 60 Ks or something this week, which is an incredible effort. He's lost, I think he's 18 pounds lighter than he was last year as well. And he did hit form at the back end of last year. I think he scored 100 in on one of the Sundays and then finished the season with a 60 or 70 up at Maesteg. And, Singhi, you touched on Haydos. I remember doing probably 2 or 3 sessions with Haydos in the nets for an hour, and we were doing, cover driving and working on his front foot game. And the ball he got, needing 3 to win off the last ball, was the exact ball that he'd been working on for 2-3 sessions for 3 hours basically of bowling machine balls, of hitting balls, and he got that exact ball and he smashed it away and won us the game. So yeah, Haydos, I'm 100% sure if we get Haydos for a full season, he is certainly one that could be up there. Yeah, definitely. So Singhy, brilliant to catch up. Nice
nice one.
Nice to talk, and Harry, nice to catch up as well. And look, we'll see you at Fitz's session tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Cheers, boys.
See you, Harry. See you, boys. See you later.